Welcome back everyone. I have missed talking to you guys. I'm so happy that I'm back with another makeup tutorial. I was thinking about what kind of video to do, and I sort of wanted to do more of like a tip video as opposed to like a tutorial, because you guys have seen me do a natural look like this before, but I get asked so many questions about false lashes, especially on Instagram, so I kind of wanted to focus just on that in this video. A lot of times we tend to use false lashes for a more dramatic eye makeup look with eyeliner and a lot of shadow. With this look, I have barely any shadow and it's all light colors and no liner whatsoever. So I'm going to show you how to use a pair of strip lashes on a no liner makeup look and make it look natural. Since this tutorial is mostly focused on the eyes, I'm gonna zoom through my face routine and I'm gonna start out with my Makeup Forever Hydrating Primer. And for the foundation, I'm using my current favorite. This is by Tarte. It's called the Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation. Really, really good everyday foundation, and it has a nice dewy finish. And I'm gonna be using my Beauty Blender to apply, but I'm gonna spray the Mist and Fix by Makeup Forever onto the Beauty Blender first, and then start applying. So the point of using the Mist and Fix spray is that it's just going to keep my makeup on longer. So it's like mixing the setting portion with the actual foundation. And for my concealer, I'm gonna be using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Ginger and Custard. Ginger just has a nice apricot tone to it, so it covers darkness well. And then Custard just adds a little more brightness. And adding a little bit of Custard. And then going back in with my Beauty Blender, I'm just going to blend that all out. And for the contour, I'm going to be using a liquid foundation that's not that much darker than my complexion, just because I want it to be a softer contour. This is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD in Y445. My normal color is Y385 in this foundation, so this isn't that much darker. So I'm just going to use my finger to apply. Oh, I guess it is pretty dark. But using liquid for contour is just another option. It's just a little bit easier to blend out. And then going back to that Beauty Blender, I'm just gonna blend this out. And now to set this, I'm not gonna be using my usual setting powder. I'm gonna be using this powder from Tarte. It's one of their new foundation powders, and I've just been using it to set my makeup and it's been working well for me, so I'm just gonna use this. I think what I like about this is that it blends the highlight and contour colors nicely together because it does have a little bit of color to it. And of course it takes down like any shininess, takes down any shininess. Moving on to blush, I'm using a new product from LORAC. This is their new matte blush, and the color that I'm using is called Technicolor. It's really pretty for the spring, and it actually goes on really, I guess, intensely, so you have to be careful with how much of it you put on. Like, I just tapped it into the blush one time, and I'm using it for both cheeks. And one last thing I'm gonna do for the face is just add a little bit more of that bronze glow. So I'm gonna take this bronzing powder by Hourglass, and I need like 4 of these brushes by Tarte. These are the best. I use them for so many different things. So I'm just going to kind of go all over with this. It's going to bronze up my skin a little bit and give it a little bit of that glow. But I'm using a kind of a feathery brush so it doesn't go on too intensely. Just bronze my whole body. Actually, yeah, why not? Moving on to the eyes, the shadow part is going to be super quick because I'm only really using 2 very light shimmery colors. The palette that I'm going to be using is this beautiful palette from Natasha Denona. It is the number 5 palette, and the colors that I'm going to be using are these 2 right here. This like coppery rose gold and this peachy gold. So I'm going to start out first with this color right here in the center. And just give that a little tap. And this is just going to go on my lid, mostly at the outer part. Nah, why not? Let's just go all over. And stopping at the crease and just kind of blending out from there. I'm not gonna have any crease color or anything like that for this look. I'm just gonna keep the lids very light, just up to the crease and then blend out from there. All right, now I'm going in with this peachy gold color. I'm using a smaller brush. And this is gonna go at the center of my lids. Really give it that pop of brightness. And also at the inner corner right here, just to add more of that bright color. So again, I'm gonna just pat that into the center. And again into that inner corner. So now with the same brush, I'm just gonna go back to that first color, the coppery rose gold one, and just add that under or at my bottom lash line here. And actually adding this light shimmery color to your bottom lash line will create more of a shadow under it, like the natural shadow that your eye makes, and it'll make your eyes look bigger. So that is it for the eyeshadow. Again, very, very simple. So I'm gonna move into the mascara. I'm using the Maybelline Push-Up Drama. You guys know this is my favorite right now, and it is a drugstore mascara. So I'm just gonna work that through my lashes. I have to be really careful with my bottom lashes because if I smile and they're not dry yet, it's gonna get onto my cheeks. And of course, my right eyelashes are way shorter than my left. How is that possible? All right, I'm just gonna give that a second to dry, and while I do that, I'm gonna move into talking about the false lashes. So the false lashes that I'm gonna use to create this look are by Ardell, and they're called the Wispies. These are the kind that have a really thin strip. The band is very, very thin, which is the kind that you wanna use anytime you're doing something more natural where you don't want the strip to show. So you can see these are very, very thin. They're not like those thick bands that you see on the more dramatic lashes. So you're gonna need the lashes. You are also gonna need a pair of small scissors, as well as the dark tone lash glue. That's what it's called, lash glue. The dark tone lash glue, don't use the clear one because it will dry clear and you'll be able to see it. This one dries dark, so it's a little bit more inconspicuous. But here's a little something I like to do anyway, because the strip itself is clear. Though they are really, really thin, they're still clear. So I'm gonna take a black waterproof liquid liner, and I'm just going to paint that strip. I'm just gonna give that a second to dry. So now before I glue these, I'm going to cut them up into thirds. So it's gonna be 3 equal parts. So I'm going to cut right there. That's 1/3. And then the other 2/3, I just will cut in half. So now you have 3 equally sized pieces of the strip lash. So now what I'm gonna do is take the longest piece, the outermost piece, and put just a tiny sliver of the lash glue on it. So just a very small amount. And actually the less glue you use, the better the lash will stick. And then I'm going to anchor my finger somewhere on my face and slowly lower that down onto my lash line. So basically you want to lower this lash onto your lash line so close to your actual lashes that you only feel a slight bit of that wet glue on your lash line. The rest of it you really want blending in with your lashes. Now moving on and taking that middle piece that I cut, same thing, putting just a tiny bit of that glue onto the strip, and then again you're gonna anchor your finger on your forehead, and I'm gonna lower this sort of overlapping with that first little piece I put on, because again I want most of the volume and length to be on the outer corner. So you see it's coming together pretty nicely. It still looks really natural, just much fuller and longer than this eye. I'm debating whether I should just leave it like this or add the final piece. So this is where you sort of custom make the lashes according to what you like. If you like it like this, you can just leave it. If you want to use that last piece, you can also add it. So what I'm gonna do is just, without the glue, put it on and see how it looks. I don't know, I kind of like it. It does blend in nicely, but it did look nice and natural. I'm gonna add it, why not? Yellow. So once again, adding just a little bit of that glue and then holding the lash by like the very tip of it so you actually have some control. Again, anchoring my pinky on my forehead and then slowly lowering that down onto the lash line. So a couple things about how I arranged these lashes. So like I said, I overlapped them so they kind of gave me more volume and length toward the outer part of my eye instead of making it come into the inner corner, because that's just gonna make my eye look more upturned and like wide awake as opposed to like bringing it in all the way here, because if the lashes were super long here, it would make my eyes look really close together. And also, I don't put the lash at the very outer edge. I put the lash maybe like 2 to 3 millimeters in, because again, if you put it too far to the outer edge, it's gonna make the eyes appear downturned, and nobody wants that. You wanna make it look lifted and wide awake. So again, you can see a difference, but it's still really natural. It doesn't look super fake. Moving on to the other strip, again, I'm going to cut it into thirds. 1, 2, and 3. Again, with that outer corner piece, I'm going to apply a tiny bit of glue. And again, this part's really important. You want to anchor your fingers somewhere on your face so your hand's not shaking. And then slowly looking into the mirror, slowly lower them and arrange them. And I just want to repeat one more time that I'm not arranging this back in the same formation that it was in when it was in the strip. I'm overlapping them so it's a completely different looking lash. So again, lowering it down. About half of it will overlap with the other strip. And finally, with that inner corner piece, this one you have to be the most careful with because it's like the start of the lash from the inner corner. So if it's not placed correctly, it's very obvious. So precision work here. All right, so this I was not happy with. So I'm gonna take that off and reapply. It's not a big deal. If this happens, don't get frustrated, just try again. And if there is glue on the strip, just carefully peel it off and try again. So now that I've got both eyes done, you can see that because I cut them up and put them on differently on both sides, it doesn't look like the exact same thing on both sides. Sometimes strip lashes, because they're so symmetrical, tend to look like they are strip lashes. So when you cut them up into pieces and then glue them on, you get a little bit of variation that just ends up looking more natural. So I filled in my eyebrows just a little bit, and now I'm gonna finish off with a lip gloss and a lip oil. I really like the color on this gloss, but it's pretty opaque, so I wanna make it look a little bit more sheer. So I'm gonna put on the color and just spread it around, and then with the Hourglass Lip Oil, which is one of my favorite lip products, just gonna pump a little bit out and dab that on. And this is just gonna give me a really high gloss, smooth finish. So that completes this really minimalist look with lots of lashes. I hope you found these lash tips useful. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you very soon with some more makeup tutorials.